My first reaction was expected. We saw this coming. I think we knew that Judge Engoron was not a fair judge, that he was going to try to hammer the Trump organization and Donald Trump, and so that's what he did. I think as I read the ruling, I think it's very weak on the facts and especially weak on the law. You can't have a fraud by legal definition without having a victim. And so, I think this is an easy appeal for Donald Trump. I think he's ultimately going to win this case because he was denied fundamental due process and fundamental fairness. In this case will be reversed, I have no doubt.
Not surprisingly, General Whitaker, New York Attorney General Letitia James, who ran for office promising to, quote, get Trump. She seemed pretty pleased with herself last night. Watch this.
The scale and the scope of Donald Trump's fraud is staggering. And so too is his ego and his belief that the rules do not apply to him. Today, we are holding Donald Trump accountable.
There seems to be in this ruling, this 90-some-odd page ruling, this idea that the former president and the Trump organization were not, quote, contrite enough, that there was no contrition on their part after the ruling, the fraud ruling. Was that appropriate? Is that an appropriate standard for the judge to have used here to justify such an unprecedented number?
Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, again, because there's no victim, there's nobody to really feel sorry for or otherwise, feel that you have wronged someone. But, ultimately, Tom, this is about the rule of law, and it's about the fact that if you're a New York corporation, you should expect Letitia James to come after you. And I think you're going to see a lot of businesses leaving New York and over the next several years, and I think New York's going to decline in its, it used to be the Empire State, and I don't think that's the case anymore.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that in just a second, but I did want to raise this with you. Would you have done anything differently here? We knew that Engoron was a hostile judge. Should the Trump legal team have asked for a jury trial knowing that he was already hostile to the former president?
Yeah, I think the problem is under this statute, a jury trial is not available. It's a civil case, and my understanding is that New York law did not allow for a jury trial. This is where, the venue and the jurisdiction and ultimately the political beliefs of the jurisdiction is what gets you. And, you're going to see this happen, I think, not only in New York against Donald Trump, but quite possibly Washington, D.C., where he's also going to have, the cards stacked against him. But, this is where you got to believe that ultimately a judge of fairness will get to this case, or judges on appeal, and they'll determine that this was just a ridiculous outcome when there was no victims and actually no fraud was committed.